Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Institution of Engineers India, Tamil Nadu State Center and Madurai Local Center, we are doing that jointly. We are doing the lecture meeting. Today's topic is supply chain management by Dr. Rajmohan. He is the professor. Professor, Department of Industrial Engineering, College of Engineering, Guindy, University, Chennai. Sir, welcome, Mr. Rajmohan, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
So now I request S. Rajagopal, sir, Chairman of Madurai Local Center, will give the welcome address, sir.
Thank you, Ramdas. I welcome all the state IEI State Center members, all local center chairman, secretary and members, and students, other council members for today's evening lecture meeting. As suggested by Ramdas, today's topic is supply chain management. Normally, we used to have the technical activity connected with the educational institutions. Today, supply chain management is a different topic. It is connected with the industry. I welcome Dr. Rajmohan, who is going to deliver the lecture on the supply chain management. I welcome everybody. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Narayan Sami, Madurai Local Secretary, will read about that today's speaker's profile.
Once again, good evening to everyone, all the members, Madurai Local Center, Tamil Nadu State Center, as well as Madurai Local Center. I am privileged to introduce the chief guest, today's chief guest, Dr. M RAJMOHAN, who is going to give the lecture on the topic of supply chain management. Dr. M RAJMOHAN is currently serving as a professor in the Department of Industrial Engineering, College of Engineering, Guindy, Anna University, Chennai. He did his bachelor degree in agriculture engineering from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Masters in Industrial Engineering from Anna University, and did PhD in the supply chain and logistics engineering from Anna University, Chennai. He is serving Anna University since June 2001. 8 research scholars received PhD. His areas of research include topics in industrial engineering, logistics and supply chain management, optimization, meta-heuristics, and data analysis. He served as an NSS program officer for 12 years and received the Best Program Officer Award. Currently, he is holding an additional responsibility as Deputy Controller of Examinations, University Departments, Anna University, Chennai. With this brief introduction, I welcome Dr. M RAJMOHAN, sir, to continue his lectures on this topic, please, sir.
Yes, sir.
RAJMOHAN,
Thank
sir.
you. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the introduction. I thank the authorities of IEI State Center as well as Madurai Local Center for the opportunity. May I share the screen, sir?
I already given that
Privilege.
you
Host has
can
been,
share
sir.
your
Please
screen
change.
also, sir.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay. Thank you.
Co-host already given.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Is it possible to share your screen, sir? Okay.
Now,
Okay. Coming, sir. Coming, sir.
Are you able to see my screen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Once again, I thank Institution of Engineers India, Tamil Nadu State Center, and the Madurai Local Center authorities for providing me the opportunity to share my little knowledge on this subject, supply chain management. So basically, nowadays, actually, I am planning to give a brief on what is supply chain, what is supply chain management, and how it is relevant to today's context. And nowadays there is a saying, okay, so the products of different companies are not competing in the market, their supply chains are competing. Okay, so the product may be sound, the product may be good, the product might have been designed good enough, engineered enough, and if the supply chains are not proper, the product won't get much attention in the market. That is the reason why actually this the subject, I can say it is not a new subject on its own. It is, I can say it is an old wine in new bottle, and it was in existence in the system, but because of the advancement that are happening with the technology, more specifically information technology, we are trying to reinvent this particular subject as supply chain management. This subject will be referred in different names in different the forums. People try to call it as in supply chain engineering also. Some schools they are offering on in the name of logistic and supply chain engineering. Even master program they are trying to offer in this area. So because of the evolution of the technologies that have happened happened, and we are trying to relook into the things that are happened in the earlier system, that we'll call it as an purchasing or trade. We are trying to relook into different dimension, and we are trying to refer that particular subject as a supply chain management as a whole. So I will try to brief on what is supply chain management. What are the implications that we have to we are trying to address in the supply chain? As I told earlier, nowadays the products are not competing in the market; the supply chains are competing. Even the products are moderate enough. If the supply chains are good, so they are trying to excel in a market very well. So that is the another reason why we are nowadays people are re-looking into or giving much importance for this particular subject, supply chain. Let us look at what is the supply chain. So now we know that the chain means it is a link that connects multiple links. Okay, so the supply chain is a linkages that connects the suppliers and customers. So there are many intermediaries in between supplier and the customers, and we cannot find who is the end supplier. That's why I'm trying to refer supply chain is the linkages that connects the suppliers and the customers. Say for example, if you take retailer, distributor is the supplier and retailer is the customer. But if you take retailer, customer, the actual customer is the real customer and distributor is the supplier. If you take manufacturer is the customer and supplier is the supplier. And even the suppliers, you will have different levels, tier 1 supplier, tier 2 supplier, tier 3 supplier. Actually, we may not be in a position to identify where actually the supply chain is originates and where it is trying to end. And nowadays we are trying to concentrate on handling of return products also. So in that sense, the actual customer who is trying to use the end product is not the real customer, and after the end of life period is over, again the product will be sent to the market and dismantle it, and quality checking will be done, and some parts will be reused and some parts will be refurbished, and some parts will be disposed, and like that we may not be ending. We may not identify where this particular chain trying to end. That's why simply I am trying to call end-to-end supply chain as the supply chain is an linkages that starts, or the entities or the parties that the linkage of parties or linkage of stages, linkages of different enablers, linkages of different organization, which starts with supplier and end with customers. It is a simple definition to remember. I am telling. So now, as I've told earlier, we may have different parties. The parties normally include suppliers, producers or manufacturers, and after the end item is produced, it will be sent to the wholesalers or distributors. From distributors, retailer will get the product, and from retailer, the customers will be served. So these are the simple. If you take any simple supply chain network, these different stages will present. These different stages not necessarily be present in all the types of supply chain. It again depends on the nature of business they are trying to do. Suppose if you take Dell's direct model, suppose if you are trying to order anything online, there won't be any intermediaries like retailer, distributor. Directly things may come from even from manufacturer itself. In that sense, you will have a supplier, producer, and the customers. There won't be any intermediaries. But customer is an integral part of any supply chain. And basically, as I mentioned earlier, supply chain starts with supplier and ends with customers. Along with the different intermediaries, it forms the complete linkages, complete chain that we are trying to refer as a supply chain. And there are many activities that are happening in between stages and within each and every stage. Now, for easy understanding, let us try to identify the activities that are happening between the suppliers and manufacturers, or the upstreams activity, and the activities that are happening between manufacturer and the customers, or downstream activity. So the supply chain has multiple processes, business processes that are happening between and within the supply chain, or we can say there are multiple upstream activity and downstream activity that are happening within the supply chain. I am trying to consider manufacturing plant as a pivot to distinguish the activity into upstream and downstream activity. The activities that are happening between supplier and the manufacturers are referred as an upstream activities, and the activities that are happening in between manufacturers and the customers are referred as a downstream activity. So now simply one can define what is supply chain management. Supply chain management is management of all the processes that are happening within the supply chain, or it is a management of all the upstream and downstream activities that are happening within the supply chain. So now the basic aim of the existence of supply chain, or management of the activities or processes happening within the supply chain, is to best match the demand and supply. Then only the organization will be profitable. So matching demand and supply is not a very easy task. So if one is able to manage or balance the demand and supply properly, then he or she will be referred as a best supply chain manager. So achieving balance is not an easy task. There are many reasons for that. Let us discuss in due course of time. So in supply chain, the objective is to best match the demand and supply in order to achieve the profitability of the supply chain, or profitability of the organization. Now the supply chain has different objectives. The supply chain is expected to achieve supply the product at the right price, to the right customers, at right place, at right condition, at right quantity, at right time. Then only the supply chain will try to gain the higher profit. So achieving these rights is not easy task. So we have to the supply chain manager has to plan the right product to be supplied to the right customer. Otherwise, what will happen? Unnecessary activity will happen. Again, if any, suppose if we take postal service an example, if any okay, mistakenly if I receive any mistakenly if I receive the wrong post, automatically what will happen? And the organization has to take effort in collecting back, and it has to take effort in sending it to the right the customer. It is an unwanted activity. So if it is if the mistake is done, automatically a single mistake will amplify in many places. Then that will leads to unwanted activity, and that sometimes leads to delay, and sometimes it will have impact on organizational goals. Okay. And if any unsatisfactory merchandise, if it is supplied to the customer, suppose if the quality is not good, and the products are not supplied as per the specification, or right product is not supplied, the customer won't be happy. So the dissatisfaction of the customer will have implication on the demand. So that is why we have to make effort in sending the right product to the right customer with right quantity, with right quality, with an appropriate price at an appropriate time to the customer. Then the customer will get satisfaction. It will result in supply chain surplus. The surplus here I am trying to refer it as a supply chain value. The value is nothing but supply chain profitability. Profitability is the difference between the worth the customer is trying to get and what is the cost expended to satisfy the customer. So that difference. So what is the revenue that is being generated by offering the product and service to the customers, minus the cost expended in offering these products and service to the customer. That is called supply chain revenue, or supply chain profitability, or supply chain value. The whole supply chain objective is to maximize the supply chain profitability, or supply chain value, or supply chain surplus. So that is the thing. So that is the main objective. So that objective is achieved by proper balancing the supply side and demand side constraints, or supply side and demand side issues. Arriving, as I told earlier, arriving the balance or strike a balance between supply and demand is not an easy task. Okay. Now let us discuss about what are the various. Whenever there is a linkages, automatically there is a flow. Suppose if there are two entities are connected, obviously there will be a flow. Am I right? Suppose if my number, my mobile phone, and Professor Uday Kumar's mobile, when it is connected through a service provider, there is an exchange of flows. Am I right? So whenever there is a different parties are connected through linkages, it may be physical linkages or virtual linkages, automatically there is a flow is expected. Suppose when we have different, suppose we have different tanks located in different destination. If it is connected through pipe, there is a flow of liquid, or the flow of water is happening between these two tanks that are located in two different places. What I am trying to emphasize here is, whenever there is a linkages, or whenever there is a connection that are established between different enablers, or different stages, or different parties, automatically they expect a flow. So now with respect to supply chain, there are multiple flows that are happening within or between different stages or different enablers in the supply chain. Normally the enablers or stages or parties are as we have discussed, suppliers, manufacturer, distributor, retailer, and customers. Okay, these are all referred as an enablers, or different stages or different parties. I'll try to use in the lecture in a different notions, but all represent the same. The stages, different parties, or different enablers represent the members who are all participating in the supply chain. So these members are directly or indirectly connected in satisfying the customer's requirement. So when they are connected, when they are linked, automatically there is a there exists a flow that are happening between different enablers or between different parties or between different stages and within different stages. These flows, and in nutshell, we'll call it as a material flow. Say, for example, from supplier, the manufacturer will get the raw material. The manufacturer will do the value addition and will get the end product, and the end product will be supplied to the distributor. In turn, distributor will send the end item to the retailer. From retailer, customer will get. That is why the material flow will be in the forward direction. Okay, so material in different forms is trying to flow in the forward direction in the forward supply chain. Why I'm stressing forward supply chain? So here we are not talking about handling of end of life products or EOL products. Okay. So the materials are trying to move in different forms across all the enablers or different stages in the supply chain. So that is why material flow will be in the forward direction. So once the customer is realizing the product and take the ownership after payment for that, then automatically, so he or she will pay to the retailer, and in turn retailer will pay for the distributor. Distributor in turn will pay to the manufacturer for the lot he has received, and the manufacturer will clear the debts for the raw material he has received with the supplier. That's why funds flow will be in the backward direction or reverse direction. But you can see the information flow is in bi-direction. So the supplier, the manufacturer has to specify what the material he or she wants. Supplier will specify what is the quality and what is the rate at which he or she is willing to supply, what quantity he will supply, at what time he will supply, like that. So the information exchanges are happening in the bi-direction if you take any different stages in supply chain. That is why it is given in two direction. So why I'm stressing this, apart from that, there are many flows, knowledge flows are there that we are not concentrating on as of now. So now these are the main three flows that are happening within the linkages that are formed between different parties or enablers at different stages, referred as in supply chain. So all the companies or all the organization are trying to spend money on managing these flows that are happening within the supply chain only. So the revenue is generated when sales is sales is happening. But so to sales to happen, the companies are spending enormous resources, financial resources for managing these flows. Then only the customer will be supplied with the right product at right place, right quantity, right quality, at right price. Okay. Now the satisfying the customer's requirement is the main task. That is why these enablers are effectively managing these flows that are happening within the supply chain with the reduced cost. Then the supply chain surplus will increase. So we have to satisfy the or we have to the efforts has to be taken within the supply chain to not only satisfy the stated needs of the customer, employee needs also the organization has to satisfy. Nowadays, not only satisfying stated and employee needs are sufficient, we have to surprise the customer. So the efforts has to be taken within the supply chain to surprise the customer along with the stated and employee needs. So for satisfying those needs, the organization is expanded to manage these flows effectively, efficiently. Then only the supply chain surplus will improve, our supply chain profitability will improve. So now there are many, in order to satisfy the customer, there are many activities that are happening within the supply chain. Okay. So in simple sense, what one can say, managing the flows that are happening within the supply chain is referred as in supply chain management. Earlier we have discussed the supply chain is linkage of enablers or parties or the stages who can directly or indirectly connected together in order to satisfy the customer's requirement. That is we have referred as a supply chain. Whenever we are creating a chain, the flow is happening. Okay, the flows we have seen material flow, information flow, financial flow or funds flow. That those flows are happening. Effective management of these flows within the supply chain is referred as in supply chain management, or effective and efficient management of upstream and downstream activities that are happening within the supply chain is called supply chain management, or effective management, effective planning, controlling and implementation of various managerial activity for efficient and effective functioning of the business processes that helps in satisfying the customer's requirement is referred as in supply chain management. Okay, so in nutshell, supply chain is the design and management of flows of product, information, funds through the supply chain, as I already mentioned. So now, as I've told earlier, supply chain is not a new subject on its own. So it was in existence traditionally. Now we are trying to look at with a new orientation. Suppose if you take before 1960, each and every activities were done in isolation with each other. Okay, so that they have referred as an okay, the activity based approach or functional based approach. Later people found that whether the integration of things will help. They have tried to combine certain aspects, then they renamed it as materials management or purchase management. And also people try to look at how the order is getting processed, how it is the finished goods are distributed, and how it is transported. Those material movement of goods from origin to destination, they were grouped those activities, and they have redefined it as a physical distribution. Now the materials management and beyond 2000, people try to integrate materials management physical distribution into logistics. And now we are along with the logistics, we are trying to embed the strategic planning aspect, management of financial flows, and effective and efficient integration of our embedment of the IT system to act as an enabler to actuate all the processes. Then they have tried to give a new name referred as an supply chain management. Just to give an evolution of how this subject has evolved, I've shown this screen. As I've told earlier, earlier people have worked in isolation. Okay, so the designer won't discuss with the supplier. The supplier won't discuss with the manufacturer. Manufacturer won't discuss with the distributor. And distributor won't discuss with the retailer. Nowadays, there is a nowadays if they work in isolation, each and every one will have an individual objective. If they have individual objective, only they can achieve the local optimization. So they can achieve, they will try to focus on their profit only. They won't focus on the other members who are participating in offering the product or providing the service to the customer. So now, so all the enablers, all the parties, all the organization has to work in tandem, work in collaboration with each other. Then only the overall supply chain objective will be achieved. Earlier, so as I've told, so people have worked on achieving or achieving their in organizational profit, individual organization profit. Nowadays, people are working on collaborative and cooperative manner in order to achieve the supply chain objective. So the cooperation and collaboration is an the key aspect in supply chain. But achieving this cooperation collaboration between different enablers will have different objective to achieve is a challenging task. Each and every enabler will have their own individual objective to maximize, and they will have different objective to achieve. Bringing them all the enablers, bring them all the enablers to have a shared objective or common objective to satisfy the customer is a Herculean task. So this IT helps us in the information system helps us in achieving this coordination and collaboration. That is why we are re-looking into the supply chain subject as well. So now let us discuss about, we have discussed about what is supply chain management, and what are the implication. Now this supply chain is actuated by different drivers. So if we want to be efficient and effective supply chain manager, we have to focus on these drivers, and we have to select an appropriate blend of these driver characteristics that helps us in coming with supply chain strategy that will best match with the organizational objective, that we are calling it as a competitive strategy of an organization. Now I will try to I will try to use this framework to explain that each and every organization, they will have the competitive strategy. Competitive strategy is an uniqueness with which the products or services offered by the particular organization when compared to competitor. That is called competitive strategy. So now for a given competitive strategy only, the supply chain strategy are to be designed. So different organizations will have their own uniqueness. For that uniqueness, what is the best supply chain strategy are to be selected. This supply chain strategy are to be this supply chain strategy will be defined by the characteristics of these drivers that are given here. So these drivers are namely facilities, inventory, transportation, information, sourcing, and pricing. So to remember easily, like if we want an IPS officer, when we are looking at an IPS officer, we'll say fit IPS officer must be fit enough. Fit IPS, like that you remember. Fit F for inventory, F for facility, I for inventory, T for transportation, IPS, I for information, P for pricing, and S for sourcing. Why I'm telling, all the research avenues, all the issues that are happening strategically or tactically and operationally will be orienting towards these aspects only in supply chain. And of course, we'll try to dynamically change the characteristics of these 6 drivers in order to define the supply chain strategy that will best match with the competitive strategy of an organization. The supply chain strategy and competitive strategy of an organization must be aligned together, must have common goal. Then only the organization will see the growth. Then only the organization product will be visible in the market, and in turn will achieve the organization, in turn will achieve the profitability of the supply chain. So now the competitive strategy is seeing in one direction, and supply chain strategy is seeing in another direction. If it is not aligned together, if it is not having perfect seamless fit, definitely the organization won't excel in the business. The organization won't achieve excellence in the business arena, or in achieving the goals. Okay, now let us discuss about what are the drivers. Okay, so the facility or the place, I have told facility, fit IPS. First one is F, facility. Facility is a place where the goods are being manufactured and where the goods are being assembled, or where the goods are being stored. This will talk about where in the supply chain. Where? Question where? WHERE, where? So where actually the goods are produced, where the goods are assembled, or where the goods are stored. It will talks about the production. It will talks about location issue, where I am going to locate my plant. Is it in the centralized location or decentralized location? whether I am going to locate my warehouses in centralized location, decentralized location, what type of the warehouse we are going to have, whether it is a job lot type of warehouse or a stock keeping unit type of warehouse, or it is cross docking type of warehouse. There are different types of warehouse. We think warehouse means it is a storage godown. So that the notion have changed. The warehouse is trying to do many value adding operation nowadays. So now one has to choose what is an appropriate location for this warehouse, what is the appropriate location for the plant to locate, where to that is where to locate, and how much capacity to locate, and what overall the supplier can be linked with the plant. Okay, which customer we can link to the plant. So that is demand allocation problem and supply allocation problem. So this facility talks about networking of the different enablers. Where I am going to locate, what capacity I am going to have. Okay, what are the processes that I am going to operate? That is a facility. Inventory is an stock that we are trying to have within each and every stage and between each and every stage in different form. It may be raw material form or in semi-finished form. That we'll call it as a work in process inventory, that is WIP, or in a finished goods form, that is end item, as an end item. So now one has to come up with an how much we can have, how much inventory we can have, how much raw material inventory we can have, how much work in process inventory we can have, how much end item inventory we can have, so that it will act as a cushion against uncertainty with the supply side and uncertainty in the demand side. So that is again, it's a challenging task. How to have a optimal inventory size to have within the supply chain. Again, the supply chain will have different nature, and it will vary with respect to different organization. The FMCG supply chain will be different than durable supply chain. Durable supply chain will be different than from healthcare supply chain. Healthcare supply chain will be different from agriculture supply chain. So the agriculture supply chain will be different from automobile supply chain. So each and every supply chain will have a different issues. So different uncertainties. How to define an optimal inventory size is a challenging task. Okay, so that is inventory part. That is what we are trying to hold. Okay, so facility talks about where, which will give answer for the question where. Inventory will answer the question for what in the supply chain. Transportation will answer for the question how we are moving these inventories in different forms from one stage to another stage. Okay, so that is a logistic part of it, moving inventory from one stage to another stage within the supply chain. Again, it is not an easy task. Here we have to select what is an appropriate mode of transportation that we can select, what is the appropriate routing scheme that we can have. The determination of routing scheme is not a easy task. It is a complex combinatorial optimization problem. What kind of the mode of transportation we can choose, or whether we have to go for intermodal transportation or multimodal transportation. So those things are to be addressed in the transportation. Okay. Now comes information. We know that so nowadays the data are being generated or popped up okay, at each and every second in high volume, that we are calling it as big data. Okay, big data. So these data are to be data related to all the drivers. Okay, facility driver, information driver, inventory driver, transportation driver, sourcing driver, pricing driver are to be collected and are to be shared across all the enablers. Then only it will help in effective decision making. As I've told, it will help in integrating all the enablers seamlessly to achieve the supply chain goals. So this information driver only will okay, actuating as to give more focus on the supply chain activities. That is the paramount drivers nowadays. Okay. Sourcing. Sourcing is the set of function that we'll try to use it to procure the not only materials for manufacturing, even the identification of appropriate sources of transporter. So here we will try to concentrate much on outsourcing the activity. So insourcing means manufacturing everything on their own. That is called insourcing, or we can call it as a vertical integration. That means start from the extraction of ore to manufacture of end item, the organization will do. So that is called vertical integrated organization. So nowadays we can say there is no manufacturer who are operating on vertical integrated manner. So if you take any big giants nowadays, they are not as a original manufacturer of all of the end item. They are nowadays they are they are operating as an assembler only. So assembler means they has to get different parts, sub assemblies or main assemblies from multiple suppliers, and they will try to indigenously embed their key quality the contributing part like engine or other aspects. They are trying to assemble and they are selling it as a brand name. But no manufacturer nowadays, they are trying to start all the components and sub assemblies that are going into the end item. That is the reason, another reason why the supply chain concepts are attain its peak or importance nowadays. So again, pricing, the pricing is another driver. Pricing is an important driver. So pricing is the cost or amount or the charge that we'll try to fix it for the goods and services offered to the customer by the supply chain members. So now again, the fixing the price is not easy. So the pricing, the optimum size of pricing, the optimum value of the pricing will be different for different different items. It will be different for perishable item, durable, FMCG, like that. So what is the optimal pricing strategy that will help all the stakeholders as well as the customers? That is that comes under pricing. There are many the combinatorial auction mechanism or combinatorial contracts that are being implemented in order to arrive these pricing things. Again, the pricing is not a easy job. It is a complex combinatorial optimization problem. Basically, why I'm telling, people are trying to work on extensive research on what is the best price that we can fix it for each and every product category. So why have insisted all this the six the drivers? Because we have to select an appropriate the characteristics of these drivers that will define the nature of the supply chain strategy in order to achieve the competitive strategy of an organization. So suppose if we take any organization, say for example Saravana store. Whenever we take Saravana store, we will say what is their competitiveness. Am I right? We'll say that it is a low price store. Okay, so when I buy a particular item in the Saravana store, I'll be getting it a lesser price. That is the brand image that was imposed within us. Okay, so they are telling this is a competitive strategy. That is how the Saravana store is differentiating itself when compared to the competitor. So in order to achieve that competitive strategy, that is low price store, that means they are trying to specifically mention that if we are buying a product in our organization, it is less when compared to my competitor. So if that is for that competitive strategy, okay, so the supply chain strategy are to be designed properly. Otherwise, so they cannot achieve their the profit margin. They cannot be in the market. So now the supply chain strategy, there are many strategies that are available, but in order for paucity of time, for want of time, I will try to say only two aspects. One is efficiency and other one is responsiveness. Efficiency means whatever strategy, whatever the activities that we are trying to work on, okay, we know that it will consume cost, but so no activities being undertaken if it increases the cost. Okay, that is efficiency. That is efficiency targets on cost. Okay, so even if you take customers will be varied. Okay, one customer may be interested in cost. Okay, he or she may say, I can wait for the product if I am able to get for the reduced price. So he is a efficient customer because he is giving much importance for the cost. But wherein other side of the customer is some customer, they may say, oh no, if you are offering the product or service immediately, I will pay extra. Okay, there is okay, but they will be giving much importance for the uniqueness of the product. They will be giving importance for variety. They will be giving importance for innovative aspects available in the product. They will be they will be giving importance for time. So if you are offering innovative product or service, I am ready to pay extra. Those kinds of customer we are referring to as a responsive customer. The customer who is willing to pay extra for the variety, the uniqueness in the product, or the time. So time of delivery. Those customer we are calling it as a responsive customer. And the supply chain also can be classified into efficient supply chain, responsive supply chain. Now, for Saravana store, sorry to use that example for easy, and because it is known to everyone. That's why I'm using. I'm not branding that it is a true competency of that particular store. So they have declared that they are a low price store. If they are once they have declared is that is the competitive strategy, definitely they must take an effort to select an efficient supply chain strategy. Then only the competitive strategy and supply chain strategy will be aligned together. If there is a misalignment, definitely they cannot excel in the market. So now if we take okay, so suppose nowadays things are happening differently because of the dynamics that are happening. Now suppose if my organization want to be efficient, now can they locate multiple plants? No, they have to locate in centralized location only, single location. So facility, centralized location. Inventory, so all the customer demand has to be accumulated and it has to be given to only one particular plant. So inventory size will be higher, so large inventory size. Transportation, so they cannot use the fast mode of transportation. We know that fast mode of transportation will take the higher cost. Suppose if they trying to transfer through flight services, obviously it will flight cargo or air cargo services. So it will they will charge huge. So it may not be fit in for the efficient customer. So so the information system also, they cannot go for the sophisticated software system like SAP. Okay, they may charge very high. They can go for legacy system. They can operate with the Excel or something like that only. Okay, and again they cannot go for multiple sources. Multi-sourcing means they cannot stick on to multiple suppliers. If they stick on to multiple supplier, obviously what will happen? The entire lot will be disaggregated or splitted into multiple supplier. Say for example, 1 lakh item, if it is splitted into 1,000 or okay, 25,000, 10,000, 50,000, 20,000 like that, then they may not get the quantity discount. They cannot bargain. If they try to order in bulk, when the order size is bulk, obviously they can bargain with the supplier. Okay, the unit price will come down. Okay, when they concentrate on single supplier only. So when they concentrate on multiple supplier, obviously they cannot they cannot achieve the benefit. So that is the single sourcing. They has to go pricing also. They has to go for low pricing. Okay, not high low pricing, very low pricing. Okay, So suppose in some X store, if you feel that daily they are changing the price structure, what is the image that we'll get? Definitely we may not enter in. If they assure that everyday low pricing, EDLP, then obviously we'll have confidence and we'll walk through. Okay, that is the pricing strategy. What I am trying to say is the supply chain strategy are to be selected, okay, are to be defined based on appropriate selection of the characteristics of these drivers. Say if I want to have an efficient supply chain, I have to go for centralized location, large inventory size, low mode of transportation, low level of legacy system, and single sourcing, and everyday low pricing. Okay, that is a strategy that will help me, okay, to come up with the supply chain efficient supply chain strategy that will best match with the competitive strategy. Though for technical, for speaking it is easy, but identification of optimum location for locating the plant and warehouse, optimum capacity, optimum inventory size, best mode of transportation, best routing structure, the appropriate in IT system to bring in what kind of the collaboration and coordination we need to have with the supplier, and what is the pricing terms. But it is not a easy task. That is why I'm telling. Say for example, if these customer the competitive strategy is responsiveness. Okay, so that is responsiveness obviously will come at the expense of cost only. If the organization is trying to concentrate on high the responsiveness strategy, okay, if the organization is declaring we are trying to provide an innovative product, okay, like if you take iPhone or Dell's model, obviously they are if you take nowadays Dell also changed the strategy. Okay, earlier when Dell was introduced, it is in Dell's direct model, so you cannot get the Dell's product in the retail store. You have to order online. There's no intermediary. Whatever configuration you are telling, whatever variety or specification you are telling, for that things are being manufactured and are supplied to the customer. Obviously they cannot have a higher level of inventory, and they cannot use slower mode of transportation. Faster mode of transportation they have to use. Okay, they need to have high-end information system to connect different they connect the customers and the Dell manufacturing Dell assembly plant along with the supplier. Then only immediately the information whatever they received from the supplier will be shared with the suppliers and assembly plant to start manufacturing in order to satisfy the customized product needed by the customer. That strategy we are calling it as a responsiveness strategy. If that is the case, okay, now can we operate suppose if we take pizza huts, or nowadays people may know A to B nowadays Adai or another bun sweets I am telling, it is available in each and every location. But when they have started, they have operated in a, one or two location only. Okay, Krishna sweets or anything, and later what they want to, that is a single location. But when keeps changing, when they are established in the market, when they get the popularity, they cannot operate with the single location because the customer want the fresh product. So that is the reason why they have opened up many retail stores in many locations. So why I'm telling this? So the strategy, the supply chain strategy is not a static one. It will keep changing dynamically. For changing dynamism, the supply chain manager or supply chain engineer has to actuate or has to make efforts in appropriate selection of the blend of characteristics of these drivers that help in defining the supply chain strategy in order to complement or best support the supply chain strategy. So if we take any product, the product has to undergo its different stages in life cycle. Okay, first when the product is introduced, introduction stage, then gradually it will get the product, get the demand, then it will reach to the growth stage. Then more and more customer will come for the product. It will attain the maturity stage. by the time what will happen, the competitor will establish. Because of the competition, the product demand will decline. So product will reach to the declining stage, and some at one point in time, no longer producing or manufacturing the product will fetch the profitability to the organization. At that point in time, the products are to be withdrawn from the market. That is withdrawal stage. If we take any product, the products or services are to be passed through all these stages in this product life cycle, starting from introduction, growth, to maturity, to withdraw, to decline, and to withdrawal stage. These 5 phases definitely the product has to pass through. You take any product, even the length of the cycle, or the period in which the product will be in, the period with which the product will be available in each and every stage only will different, but all the product has to undergo its life cycle. Even if you take our case, one point in time we have introduced in the system, and the child and we have we had a child child stage, then adult stage, age. At some point in time we have to be withdrawn. There is no okay. So no other rule for this. Definitely we have to pass through all these phases. But why I'm telling this, we cannot have a static the supply chain strategy when the product is moving from the introduction to the maturity stage, okay, or withdrawal stage. Dynamically this has to be changed when particularly when the product is introduced. Okay, so we have to go for a responsive supply chain strategy. We have to okay, introduce quickly in the market, we have to fetch market. But when the product matures, obviously the fame for the product will come down. Obviously people will look at the cost benefits. Then we have to work on efficiency aspect. We have to move initially when the product introduced, we have to follow the responsiveness strategy. When the product matures in its product life cycle, we have to focus on efficient supply chain strategy. We won't stop with that, okay, because the competitor already been established. Now again we have to redesign or improve the product, and we have to introduce in the market. Okay, then again the product will become new, and again responsiveness will comes into picture. So what I am trying to say here is, when the product is introduced, we will follow the sorry, responsiveness strategy. When the when the product matures, we have to go for the efficient strategy. Again the R&D, all the activities are to be done, and we'll come up with the innovative product. When the innovative products are introduced, again we have to focus on responsiveness strategy. Okay, then gradually the supply chain strategy are to be changed. So, and if it is happening only within a particular stage, within my organization, I can effectively manage. But all the enablers are to be collaborated enough and interlinked enough to to make this possible for the dynamic changes that are happening. That is a challenging task. So what I'm trying to here is, so when the product matures, okay, the supply chain strategy are to be changed. The supply chain strategy again are to be managed dynamically. Starts from efficiency to responsiveness to efficiency, again back to responsiveness, like that. So the supply chain strategy will back and forth. We have to move for based on the condition, based on the stage of the product in its life cycle. So this is dynamically and efficiently it has to be done. That is a very challenging task. So now, as I've told earlier, so coordination, information sharing, and collaboration is the vital thing. Okay, that is supplemented by information system. That is why nowadays now we know that nowadays even okay. So the online sales are being happening, and online test marketing is happening. Online reviews are being happening, and we are trying to give our views in different forms, in different formats, and volumes of data, variety of data. okay, veracity of data is very high. So that is where we are trying to work on. Nowadays, people are trying to connect. So the IT system as a big data analytics, and that will identify what is the taste and preference of the customer. So that is not being captured by one organization, sent to other organization. So these people are collaboratively they are trying to come up with they are trying to work in a research arena, and they are trying to invest on IT system, and they are trying to get the data, and they are sharing among the different parties in order to meet the challenges. This the coordination, collaboration, information sharing are best achieved by the information driver. So the flow of information, flow of funds we have discussed. And one thing, another challenge is bullwhip effect. Okay. Say for example, when I'm going to the retail outlet, I may order 5 units. Okay. Retail, what he or she will think, similar kind of customer will come and he will order 50 units with the distributor. What distributor will think? So similar kind of request will come from multiple retailers, and he will assume because these people are not sharing the actual demand information to all the members, because each and everyone want to maximize the individual benefit. Okay, suppose if the distributor thinks retailer thinks that if the exact sales figures are shared with the distributor, he will charge, or he may supply lesser quantity, or he may charge higher price. Like that, if he is he feel this retailer will feel, and they won't share the real-time information, demand information to the distributor. In turn, distributor will assume that similar kind of request will come from all the retailer, and he will order for 500 units with the manufacturer. He won't share the actual information, because distributor want to maximize the individual benefit. Actual information is not shared with the distributor. Okay, and actual information not shared by the distributor to the manufacturer. What manufacturer will think? Manufacturer will assume that similar kind of request will come from many distributor. Okay, and he may not give the actual information to the supplier. He will order for 5,000 units. Actual demand is 5 units, but the amplified by retailer. Okay, and he is sending order to the distributor 50 units. So distributor is ordering 500 units with the manufacturer. 500 the manufacturer is ordering material for 5,000. Actual sales is 5 units. Actual sales is 5 units. That demand amplification is referred as a bullwhip effect. Okay, so because of improper cooperation, coordination, because of not seamless relationship between all the enablers, each and every one, if they try to hide the actual demand information, and when it is passed, when the information is passed to the upstream member, the demand amplification is taking place. I have told actual demand is 5 units with the final customer. When it is moving to a retailer, further amplified, distributor further amplified, manufacturer further amplified, and supplier like this. So actual demand is this much, but so you could see the fluctuation. This fluctuation is is happening because of because each and every member in the supply chain is trying to maximize the individual profit, not the entire supply chain profit. So everyone wants to achieve their profit to be maximized, not the entire stakeholders' profit. So that was that is nowadays trying to overcome by the cooperation or collaboration. Earlier we had competition. Competition means many players will compete in the market. That is competition. Now what is things are happening? We are entered into new arena called co-opetition. Co-opetition means the competitor themselves will form the group, and they are working in collaboration to satisfy the customer's need. Okay, that is called co-opetition. Okay, So no more the things are being happening, changes are being happening. Okay, so people earlier they worked on functionally the activity, they worked on core activity, they have shown the uniqueness. Then they have worked on function. Okay, not one single activity, entire function. So functional excellence they have achieved. Then they have shown not only within the function, they worked on achieving the organizational excellence. Okay, so now the organization may be good. If my members are not good, then I cannot achieve the profitability within supply chain. That is why people are trying to collaborating with the other members. They are now they are calling it as now we are that is enabled by the information driver. They are working in collaborative environment. Now the collaboration also going next level, the co-optation environment. So no, so, so now the competitors, as I've told you earlier, so competitors are thinking to collaborate themselves to offer the unique needs of the customer that are happening. And this is with respect to automobile or the supply chain. The service supply chain also is keep as I've already told, healthcare supply chain or okay, the supply chain of hospitality supply chain. Okay, so now the flight services that is linked with the hotels. Okay, it's a package dealing, so all those things. So what I'm trying to see, earlier people have worked in isolation. Now the organizational boundaries are removed and they are working on working in an integrated manner. So to achieve the integrated supply chain, that will help in uh, achieving the competitiveness, as well as they are achieving their excellence in the arena. Okay, as I've told earlier, nowadays the competitive behavior also keep changing. One can work on responsiveness, reliability, relationship management, and sometimes now, okay, I can as an organization I cannot be saying only my product is I am offering the product with the lesser price. No longer it will benefit the benefit the organization. Nowadays organization are start offering the customized product to the customer. Customized product, so color or okay, so even ready-made stores have started in offering customized colors to the customers. Earlier no, so the scenario was now they will try to have different colors of different sizes in a stock. But nowadays things are no happening. Okay, the IT like if you take the hardware shop, earlier they used to have different color paints in different volumes. Okay, starting from 50 ml to 100 ml, 250 ml, 500 ml, like that. Okay, so they need to have a stock of different sizes and different colors. Now no, they need not, no, they can stock only the base color and the ingredients, pigments. Okay, and if you go and give your shade, and for that shade they know the formula. Okay, and when that is fed into the computer, and that will give the basic colors to be mixed within the paint, and things are no, processed, and we are getting the customized color that we wanted. All right, so that thereby what is actually happening because of this, so the hardware fellow need not have inventory of different colors and different bottles, different boxes. So they can minimize the inventory. In turn, this will have impact on space reduction. Okay, so inventory reduction not only will helps in cost reduction, space reduction. So even with earlier they need to have bigger godowns. Now they can go for a smaller godown, like that. Okay, so like that things are being happening. How I am agile, how I am flexible to match the demand of the customer within short time. How I am going to offer the product in a speedy manner, in a unique manner, in an uncertain environment, in more visible manner with the effective coordination. That is very much important. Nowadays, we used to say no. So when we have better understanding, okay, it will build the relationship. If we have better relationship, automatically the trust will be formed. If we have better trust, so there exists a peace in life. When we have peace, it will lead to prosperity. The same thing can be applied to supply chain arena also. People are working on research how we can implement the behavioral aspect in the supply chain so that the supply chain performance will improve. So that is basically boils down to relationship management. Relationship management. So nowadays we are trying to focus much on the environmental concern. So when the activities are happening, when the supply chain strategy is defined to satisfy the environmental aspects along with the traditional economic benefits, then it is called green supply chain. Okay, green supply chain. Nowadays people are going beyond, okay, not only economic aspect, okay, along with the environmental concern, social benefits also are to be satisfied. So earlier, if you take any article 20 years before, they will work on minimizing the total cost, maximizing profit, like that. Now, if you take any literature on supply chain, not only they are trying to identify the best location for installation of plant, not only to minimize the total cost, it has to improve the economical merits and also social merits. So merits. So nowadays even in the qualitative manner and quantitative manner, people are working on that. They are trying to give a name as a sustainable supply chain. In a sustainable supply chain, we are trying to in a sustainable supply chain, we are trying to achieve three pillars: economic, environment, and social. So when these three pillars are addressed, three issues are addressed qualitatively and quantitatively, then that thing we are calling it as a sustainable supply chain. And lean supply chain. So we have to minimize the unwanted things are happening within the supply chain. Not great thing. Obviously, we'll say no. If you are bulky, you cannot achieve the speed. You cannot be a sprinter. Am I right? If you try to eliminate unwanted fat from you, you'll become slim, you'll become thin, and you will be running faster. That is the lean philosophy. Lean will give you greater speed. That when you are trying to achieve their production, or when you are trying to operate the process with a greater speed, okay, then you will try to satisfy the customer at a faster rate. Okay, so for that, unwanted non-value added activities are to be minimized or eliminated from the process, so that the process will become lean and the supply chain will also become lean in satisfying the customer's requirement. And nowadays, we not only we have to achieve the product, or we have to provide the product or provide the service to the customer in a faster time. We have to achieve with a good quality. So that is where people are trying to concentrate on how we can bring in Six Sigma aspect, the quality measures into supply chain. Nowadays people are working on Six Sigma sustainable supply chain, Six Sigma lean supply chain, like that. So mainly nowadays we know that the globalization has opened. Okay, nowadays we are operating the globalized arena. So dynamics are keep changing. Okay, so things are changing in environment. For changing requirement, we have to redesign and realign the supply chain strategy. Then only with the appropriate use of technology, appropriate use of technology, with many value added processes outsourced. Outsourcing means the suppose we used to call earlier when okay, this will be easier for understanding. So suppose if you take 30 years back or 50 years back, so if marriage is happening within a family, so each and every activity will be taken care of by the family, or friends and relatives. Okay, nowadays what is happening? So we are giving it to some agent. Okay, and that agent will give a subcontract to other agent. Okay, now our duty we are giving it to a third party, okay, who will does the specialized job for the parent organization, for us, that is outsourcing. The core activity, okay, will be taken care of by the organization. The non-core activities are getting it done by the specialized person. You will be doing on behalf of the parent organization. He or she cannot take the ownership, okay, and he will does she will does the specialized function with a with the utmost specification. That is called outsourcing. Nowadays, as I've told, no organization is doing the entire processes from scratch to end. They are getting it done by outsourcing agent only. How to select the outsource agent, okay, how to achieve the security within the supply chain, how to build, how to manage the disruption. Now we know the COVID-19 has created a new thing. If nowadays people are trying to focus on doing research on the impact of COVID on supply chain. So what is the disruptions caused by the COVID-19 on supply chain? Research people are trying to do. So now the okay, so these are the various trends one can look at it in a research perspective. Okay, this already discussed. As I've told earlier, now the actual customer profile will be this. Okay, customer demand will be this, or the production plan you may be operating like this. The customer demand will be fluctuating. So if you are operating, okay, production plan in a stable manner, wherein the customer demand is fluctuating, obviously, what will happen? So sometimes you will have surplus, sometimes you will have shortages. Okay, but when you have surplus and shortages, definitely both are evil. Am I right? Surplus means inventory holding cost. Unnecessarily you have to spend money on inventory holding. Shortage means you will miss the customer. Okay, you will miss the customer. So unsatisfied customer will pass negative comments about that. So both are not evil. Both are evil to the organization. The supply chain manager must have the best efforts, must take a best efforts to best match the production plan and the customer demand, have the seamless fit through effective supply chain strategies. Then the fit will arrive, and that fit will give benefit to the organization. And as I've already mentioned, so this is a new arena, analytics arena. So this analytics domain also keep changing. So people earlier want to know what really happened. They have gone for descriptive analytics, and then they wanted to analyze what is the reason for this problem. Diagnostic analysis. People have gone for diagnostic analysis. Suppose if this trend continues, what will happen in near future? People have gone for predictive analytics. And if this is going to happen, what is the best solution that will resolve the issues? People have gone for predictive analytics. Nowadays, people are going for much beyond, that is the cognitive part. Okay. So now people are working on the blockchain also. So that is research orientation. With this, I will stop. Sorry, I will start at this. I will stop at this juncture. If there are any queries, I will take.
Participant can ask themselves, unmute, and then ask any questions.
Thank you, Rajmohan sir. Sir,
Thank you very much,
some
sir.
members can ask any questions.
Please, sir. Please, welcome.
So, Dev Kumar.
If no questions, sir, in these sections, sir, Ramdas sir, shall I? Sir, Ramdas sir.
Sir, thank you, sir. Thank you, Rajmohan sir. I think you have given the brief and then excellent presentation today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Once again, I thank. So now, Mr. Kannan, Honorary Secretary of Tamil Nadu State Center,
Give the vote of thanks.
give the formal vote of thanks. And then I thank Sir Kannan sir.
Yeah. Tell me.
Sir, please,
Sir,
sir, please go ahead, sir, for the vote of thanks. Sir.
You go ahead with the vote of thanks, sir.
Okay. A very good evening, gentlemen and ladies. It is my privilege and pleasure to say a vote of thanks to the dignitaries and the virtual guest gathering. First of all, my sincere thanks to the chief guest and the eminent speaker who is given a hot topic today, Mr. Rajmohan, Professor, Department of Industrial Engineering, College of Engineering, Guindy, Anna University, delivered on the topic supply chain management. The topic is very much developed. There are a lot of import and export market in the shipping industry and transportation of shipping. Supply chain management, everybody knows, is the integral process, oriented planning and control of the flow of goods, information, money across the entire value and supply chain from the customer to supplier. So it's now digital supply chain management is developed all over the world now. My thanks to the Institute of Engineers, Tamil Nadu State Center Chairman, Engineer Ramdas, Madurai Local Center Chairman, Engineer Rajagopal Sir, Honorary Secretary, Engineer Narayan Sami, and in our Mr. Rajamani Sir for arranging the very good lecture, technical lecture in the very short time. My thanks to Engineer Rajamani and presently the council member and the vice president, past vice president, and other local center chairman, honor secretaries, members, lady members of the Institute of Engineers, India, who have taken their valuable time to participate in their virtual technical meeting. Thank you, one and all.